Hey guys, this is Ackley SamAttack4427 here with, well, I guess it's time for me to do another response/rant video as normal on this channel for sure. Now, unlike the previous ones that I did on some announcements and stuff, pretty much anything in the entertainment industry or any trailers and stuff from what I can gather, or anything else that would actually pop up that would actually that would be interesting for me to talk about. This one that I've decided to do, I was a little nervous about making this video for sure. In fact, part of me really doesn't want to do this for sure. But given to, of course, what I've actually seen, especially since it's been well over 12 whole years since this whole situation happened, which I did talk about in one of my videos a couple of years ago for sure. I knew I'm not going to stay silent on this, and I think it's time for me to finally come forward on, of course, this one. And if you can't tell by the obvious title of this video, yes, folks, I think it's about time that we finally talk about this one for sure. Now, if you may recall back a couple of years ago, I did a video, which is, of course, my entire perspective video, talking about the whole YouTube war during the summer of 2012 that happened way back in about, well over 12 years ago, actually, and yeah, in that video, I pretty much discussed, of course, my perspective on, of course, what happened around that time, and of course, moreover, finally owning up to my actions for what I did for sure, and actually apologizing for what I actually did for sure, So yeah, if you haven't actually seen it, I highly recommend you go check out that video for sure. It'll give you plenty of context for sure to really get you the idea, of course, on what exactly I'm talking about for sure. But for the sake of this, pretty much this video I'm doing here today, this is definitely on one subject matter that I probably did mention, of course, that's a video that I did a couple years ago for sure, that I do think deserve its own video entirely, and of course, in case a lot of you guys are actually quite curious, I think it's time for me to finally talk about pretty much a certain video for sure that I was actually mocked for around the time this whole situation happened 12 years ago for sure. And I'm, of course, talking about pretty much a review and stuff on, of course, on a Japanese hentai that goes by the name of Maid Boy Kurukan. That's actually done by, of course, pretty much a reviewer / content creator online that goes by the name of, that goes by the name of Branding, who goes by his username on YouTube as Headbanger142. But you may know him as, of course, pretty much internet reviewer, the Hardcore Kid, or as he's known nowadays as the Hardcore Dude for sure. Yes, folks, I think it's about time that we finally talk about that video for sure, and I have remained silent about this for nearly 12 years now, ever since he posted that back in November of 2012. But I think maybe now's the time for me to pretty much finally come forward and address everything that was actually saying that video for sure, and of course finally go on the record for sure on how I actually feel about it for sure. So yeah, that's of course what I'm going to be talking about for today's video for sure. Now, before I begin talking about this subject matter for sure, I want to give out a very quick disclaimer real quick. Regardless on what I have to say about this, please do not go and harass Branding for, of course, what I'm actually talking about here today. This video is not a hate campaign whatsoever, and by all means, I condemn any form of harassment at at all, and I do not support that all the way. Going out of your way to actually attack this person that I'm talking about in this video will make you as bad as the situation I'm talking about in this video for sure. So if you could just not do that, then you're already a much better person by far, so yeah. That's pretty much all I'm asking for in this quick disclaimer real quick before we begin for sure. Now that we finally got that out of the way, let's go ahead and finally talk about this. Alrighty then, so yeah, now that I've actually got the introduction out of the way, and of course a quick disclaimer before I begin talking about this subject matter, and for those who are wondering, yes, I am gonna mention that a disclaimer that I said in the earlier in this video, but also down in the description box below, and especially in my comment that I have pinned, and of course this video for sure, just to get that out of the way for sure. To really get ourselves in for what we're talking about. I think it's about time that we finally go ahead and talk about this subject matter for sure. But first, I think I might as well do a little look back on my perspective video that I did talk about my experience with this whole YouTube war of the summer of 2012 video that I did a couple of years ago for sure. Now, of course, I actually know right around, since it's been well over 10 years around the time I actually made that video, I actually did what I did in that video. I pretty much discussed through, of course, my perspective for sure, and how I actually felt about it for sure. And moreover, I actually did give out a sincere apology for what I actually did, and of course, own up to my actions for sure, because, well, what I did pretty much all the way back 12 years ago, yeah, it was bad, and I do feel bad for doing that, and I know hands down that it is something that I will never do ever again for sure. But yeah, I guess either way, I think I wouldn't actually pretty much go into a full-on detail every single time in this video for sure, because that would pretty much be repeating myself for sure. But again, my video that I did a couple of years ago will give you some of the context of course, why I'm actually talking about for sure. And let's not forget to mention, I did might have actually missed one or two little details here and there for sure, and probably didn't include some that I didn't include in that video for sure. But I did describe it in the best way that I possibly can for sure, so yeah. And of course, in that video, I did discuss for the fact that pretty much in that video, I did mention for the fact that there was, of course, some really heavy mockery that happened during that time for sure. And of course, pretty much if anything, Headbanger142's review on the Maid Boy hentai film that he actually did talk about during right around November of 2012 for sure. That was definitely one of them for sure. And this only happened just about 2 months after another user that I've mentioned, which is of course Sam Dudley, aka Saki Branta, who is now known as CCTV Studios or CCTV Worldwide, actually did pretty much openly criticized and mocked me for sure in his pretty much in his video that he did on Famous Fred around that said year for sure, to which yeah, it was actually bad. I will have to admit for sure, but of course, I do know that he has posted on the Preschool Guy YouTube channel a much more remixed version of that episode with, of course, pretty much the stuff that he said about me cut out entirely, to which yeah, I probably think that's probably a good thing that he actually did that for sure, because, yeah, I really couldn't imagine what would have happened if he actually did for sure, so yeah, But I guess for the sake of the hardcore kids review on the Maid Boy hentai that he did, where he did openly mock me, but also one of my friends that I did mention in that video that I did, Trainboy54, yeah. Believe it or not, he actually did posted the hang around that time. I think he did originally post it on onto, of course, a site called blip.tv. Pretty much a long time ago, to which that site alone has been shut down for well over 9 years now, for sure. To which, yeah, currently as of now, that Sega review that he actually did has been lost in the sands of time, for sure. But I will say right now, upon some investigation for sure, I did mention, yeah, I think I did notice pretty much as of recently that that Sega review that he did was re-uploaded by a couple of different users for sure on both different sites for sure. One of which is on Vimeo as we speak, and the other on Internet Archive for sure. So yeah. I almost kind of thought that review was lost in the sands of time forever and I don't have to deal with it any longer. But of course, since it has been re-uploaded onto different sites for sure, I figure maybe I think I should actually mention that for sure. And of course, just to give you guys a little context of course, why I'm going to be, of why I'm actually referring to it for sure, I am going to leave the links to that's a review on both of those sites in the description box below for you to see for yourself for sure. And to give you an idea, of course, pretty much the mockery that Brandon actually did in that Sega video. Well, I guess a part of me does require for the fact that I would actually play clips from that Sega video to give you guys the idea for sure. But given for the fact that it is in fact a hentai for sure, it is way too graphic for YouTube to handle for sure, and I really don't want this video to get massively age restricted for sure. So what I am going to do instead is that, yeah, I did say that I will leave the links to that review on both of those sites for you to see for yourself, and just for the sake of it, I'm going to give you guys the time codes on where Brandon actually added in the mockeries of course, me and my friend Trainboy54 in his review to give you guys a little... to give you guys a little context of course, why I'm actually referring to as of now, so... Because, yeah, trust me, I really don't want to go through massive trouble in showing clips from that Sega video, because, again, that Sega video alone is way too graphic for any of us to handle, so I'm doing this to help save the trouble for sure, and just so that I won't get into massive trouble with YouTube in the slightest. So yeah, that's of course why I actually should mention as of now. Now I guess for the sake of course why I'm actually pretty much why I have to say for this video. Yeah, I guess I will have to say my honest thoughts on, of course, all that, and of course it's my way to finally address everything from my point of view and finally come forward and go on the record. Honestly, to me, I think I pretty much I knew right away that based on, of course, some glimpses that I've actually seen in that Sega video. Yeah, honestly, to me, I think it was rather heartless for me to actually see the happen for sure. And I'm not saying the of course, on my point of view, as someone who has actually pretty much gone through that massive tragedy that happened 12 years ago for sure. But the way he actually did, I think, was just unacceptable for sure, and I think by all means, I think for him to doing, of course, a Japanese hentai for sure. Now that's something I know hands down, I cannot tolerate hands down, and And of course, I will have to say right now, for those who are wondering, no, I do not support child porn, let alone pedophilia in the slightest for sure. I think it is just absolutely disgusting, and I really do think that the people who have actually done those things for sure should be held accountable for what they actually did for sure. And I don't even know what was going on when Brandon actually made that said video that he did 12 years ago for sure. And yeah, I guess if anything, pretty much from what I actually see from my point of view, I really don't think it's actually very acceptable, of course, my part for sure. And if anything, I think he's only trying to do it to, you know, grab my attention and pretty much to go down into the comments and actually call him out for what he actually did. But of course, pretty much around that time, I didn't bother doing that for sure, because if anything, I was actually recovering from, of course, such a terrible time that I actually went through, and I don't want to be pretty much be stuck in that crossfire, hands down for sure. And yeah, it was hard. It was really hard for me to deal with it back then for sure. Yeah, with not just this alongside playing the other mockeries for sure, but also dealing with, of course, pretty much other users for sure, like, of course, as I've mentioned, Universe Twisters, Waymo, and RJ Bandsma, that we got ourselves falling under heat for sure, that kickstarted this whole thing that I started for sure. And that's amongst other things, including pretty much getting wrongfully doxxed for sure, and getting nothing but massive amount of prank calls from all the laws and all the trolls and stuff, to which that too I do not pretty much, yeah, I definitely do not think it should be tolerated hands down for sure, because I do not support people doxing other people for sure. And even the phone call that was recorded, where my mom was, of course, very angry, pretty much very angry, and screamed at the people that were making that said phone call for sure. Yeah, to me, I really don't think it's actually that funny for sure. I think, if anything, I think it's more hurtful than funny for sure. In fact, if anything, I think I knew around that time, I was, of course, crying my eyes out, and the only person that was there to try to comfort me for sure was, of course, my sister, who was right there beside me when I actually saw my mom being that angry over the phone for sure. That was actually recorded. So yeah, it was hard. It was hard for me to deal with that back then for sure. And again, I did discuss that in great detailing, of course, my perspective video that I did a couple of years ago for sure. But I don't want to bear myself repeat myself for sure. So if that's the case for back then, I knew right away I didn't want to pretty much do the same thing for Brandon for sure, because I think he was actually doing it to grab my attention and actually pretty much get everything he needed to, of course, get exactly what he wanted, to which, thankfully, I didn't do exactly that for sure, which prevented him from doing exactly that for sure. And I guess in all honesty, I think I really do think that I think with what he did, I knew, looking back, I knew what he did was wrong for sure, but I couldn't bear myself to actually say that for sure, because if anything, that would pretty much be me going back to what I actually did over 12 years ago for sure, and that's not exactly what I want to do in the slightest for sure. And I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, I think I do know pretty much pretty much in the recent years for sure, especially from a couple of years ago, I actually did end up making a couple of jokes about branding for sure. Why actually liking one episode that I did when I talked about the miscellaneous items that I got from Trainboy54 for sure. I did include the clip from one of his videos for sure that in one of his smacked up YouTube failures list that he said that when he talked about the Thomas Lover 1990 that he said the worst is yet to come, and I jokingly I did make a joke in response to that comment that he actually made that he will actually do it in 2000, never gonna happen, to which, yeah, I guess I will have to say, I think part of me does want to find that funny for sure, but I couldn't actually bring myself up to actually to laugh at the hag for sure, so yeah, and let's not forget to mention when I actually try my hand at satirizing pretty much the Will Smith Oscar slap in my 100th episode of WTPU that I actually did a couple of years ago for sure, to which, yeah, I don't know if he actually did actually responding to the hag. I really don't know in the slightest for sure, but that was the only time I actually did satirize that incident as another joke for me to make on, of course, branding for sure. So yeah, I think it's what I could say, of course, that front, and I know a lot of you guys may think the hag that I actually did made those because I was still feeling bitter over what he did for sure, and I think he deserves to not be on YouTube in the slightest. Honestly, I don't think so in the slightest. Now, don't get me wrong, I think with what Brandon did for sure, that was bad, of course, on my part, and even from back then for sure when I saw it for sure, which left me utterly shocked for sure. But I do understand for the fact that there are people that actually do look up to him and find him to be a good content creator, let alone reviewer, and yeah, I will have to say, I do actually think there is some truth to that for sure. I mean, I can tell that he is put off a hard-working effort in, of course, his videos for sure, and of course, his style of reviewing is something that I don't necessarily think is actually that great for sure, but I do see why others actually do like in the slightest, and plus, I will have to admit, there are some movies that I'm sure he's talked about for sure that I know hands down that I have different opinions on for sure. Like, for example, I do know that he did actually talk about both Space Jam: A New Legacy and the Five Nights at Freddy's movie for sure, and he actually didn't like those to begin with. But for me personally, I actually didn't mind those two for sure. Like, of course, for Space Jam: A New Legacy, I actually did state in my thoughts video that I generally love it despite how bad it is for sure. And for the sake of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, yeah, I stand by my point, of course, on my thoughts video for sure, that I definitely do think it's actually a pretty decent flick for sure. But hey, that's just my thoughts alone. That's a little different from what he thought of it for sure. But I do fully respect his opinion for sure. I mean, I didn't actually say in a comment on, of course, his video, his videos for sure, because that would, of course, yeah, I guess I really couldn't bring myself up to actually say that to him for sure, since part of me almost still kind of feels a little bitter over what he did for sure. But I did say it in my mind for sure, and I couldn't, yeah, and I refused to get into a massive argument for sure. Yeah, it's just his opinion, hands down, and I do fully respect his opinion for that. And that's the one thing that I actually did state at the end of my thoughts videos for sure. Regardless on what I actually thought about a movie or a show, I do allow people to actually share their own thoughts at the end of my thoughts videos that I would do on the regular for sure. There are some that actually do agree with me, and there are some that actually do disagree with me, and that's okay. I don't have any problem with that whatsoever, and I do fully respect their opinions for sure, and that's fine. So yeah, I think it's what I could say, of course, on that front for sure. And since I actually did mention Trainboy54, to which he also mocked, of course, his review that he did for sure, that's another thing that I should actually mention in regards to me and Trainboy54 in the slightest for sure. Now, don't get me wrong, as a person, I do know he is a nice guy for sure, and I did try my best to actually pretty much help him out and, of course, improving his videos for sure. Like, of course, I am starting to pretty much starting to catch up and somehow notice, of course, a lot of people criticizing him for his videos for sure. So with what I've been doing for pretty much for a long time now, especially since after what happened back in the summer of 2012, I actually did try my best to actually help Trainboy54 improve on his videos for sure. Like, of course, I actually did look back on some of his past videos that he actually did for sure, and I literally thought to myself that I really want to tell him, let's try something different. Let's step up your game and actually try something new and creative, rather than doing the exact same thing over and over and over again for sure, to which, yeah, I think if anything, I guess for what it is, I guess it is actually one of the main reasons why people criticize Trainboy54 in the slightest for sure, and I'm starting to somehow notice that in the slightest. So yeah. And yeah, part of me actually wants to feel really happy for the fact that I'm actually helping him improve his videos in the slightest. But I guess in all honesty, it was a massive stress fest on my part, especially in recent years for sure. Like, of course, one of the things that Trainboy54 loves to do in the slightest for sure is that he would actually find a way to sneak in gags and jokes, let alone take videos that were originally done by two of the original biggest content creators in the Thomas and Friends community, which are, of course, Miss Oliver and Blossom and TrainLover476, to which, as of recently, they now go by, pretty much, with the former now going by DeWilsonator, aka Thespio, and, of course, the latter now going by the name Jasper Pie, for sure, to which, yeah, I guess pretty much every single time, Trainboy54 would find a way to actually sneak in gags and jokes that were done by those guys, let alone actually take some video ideas that they originally created years and years ago for sure, and actually try out himself as his way of saying, hey, I could be as funny as yeah, as those two for sure, and still be a great YouTuber for sure. Oh my god. To which, yeah, I guess I know as of recently for sure, that's actually starting to catch on to me, and it's leaving me absolutely stressed out for sure, right? And even I am for sure is that every single time I would actually try to create something pretty much new and original for him to try out and be opened up to for sure, Trainboy54 would still find a way to actually sneak in those gags and jokes, and let alone rip off other content creators for sure, just to let things go his way for sure. And yeah, and I'm pretty sure that I think we are starting to see the real reason why a lot of people criticize him for sure, and even I'm starting to catch on to all that at a rather slow pace for sure. And And I definitely know, pretty much of anything, most, if almost not all of the other content creators that have actually worked with Trainboy54 for sure, including another user that I definitely know Brandon actually did mention, and of course his Maid Boy video that he actually did that. I know hands down he's not a part of his crew any longer, is of course Nathan, aka I Love Trains 323 for sure, So yeah, I do remember that pretty much back in the early days for sure, he actually has worked with Trainboy54 pretty much in the past, let alone actually pretty much voice one or two characters, and of course in his series for sure. And of course, a lot like me, and of course another former user, Tuckinator15, yeah, he was, of course, a part of his now defunct adventures of Phineas and Ferb, to which, yeah, I guess if anything, pretty much, it was, back many years ago, for sure, and I'm pretty sure nowadays, either, Nathan, would have, pretty much, I would say that he has, no idea what they're talking about, or, of course, he would actually, cringe, looking back, for sure, so... To which, yeah, I guess of anything, pretty much, those are good examples on why actually me, and I actually did mention it, of course, Trainboy54's recent update video that he posted on part 2 of Isabella's Nutcracker, to which he and I are still currently working on for sure. I did admit that, pretty much, despite the fact that, yeah, I actually did mention that, pretty much, despite the fact that we were taking something from Miss Oliver and Blossom and Train Lover 476 for sure, I did actually mention that it is starting to get old, and I'm starting to get absolutely tired of it for sure. So yeah, regardless of course, that video alone for sure, I did admit that in that Sega video for sure, and I am admitting that nowadays for sure, I mean, it was actually fun back in the day for sure, but nowadays, I'm starting to get sick of it for sure, and I want to go for gags and jokes that I want to come up with on my own for sure. And I did remember when Miss Oliver and Blossom posting one of his Q&A videos that he did years and years ago for sure. He actually did openly admit that pretty much when someone asked him if he's aware that people are ripping off his videos for sure, he actually did make one proclamation for sure, is that if it's just one gag, then there's no problem with it for sure. But if it's an entire episode or video ripped off from him and claimed it's their own production, that really pissed him off for sure. But it doesn't end there in the slightest, but yeah, but also I think he did say in one of his commentary videos that he did that, he did state that if you can take a joke and just twist it to your own advantage, then there is actually a reason that it can actually be funny. And you know what, there is some truth to that last part for sure, but either way, you pretty much get what I mean for sure, and don't get me wrong, I think looking back on those two big name content creators for sure, yeah, they were big back in the day for sure, and I actually did look up to them, and of course, they did serve as my massive inspiration to, of course, to finally make my own videos on YouTube for sure, and yeah, all that sort of stuff for sure, to which I still am doing even to this day for sure. But I guess nowadays they barely actually have a pretty much a pressing whereabouts on the internet nowadays for sure, and especially since after what has actually happened ever since one of their old colleagues of theirs, Toon Critic Y2K, was of course outed all the way back in January of 2018 for sure. And I think you know exactly on what I'm actually referring to when I mentioned that guy for sure. So yeah, I guess either way, I think, I know hands down that back in the day it was fun to actually do stuff like what they did for sure, but nowadays, I'm starting to get sick and tired of it for sure, and I think it is starting to catch on with, of course, Trainboy54's videos, not just from the past, but nowadays for sure, so yeah. And I guess give it to that thought for sure. I bet a lot of you guys may be wondering, if that's the case, why don't I just join in on I Love Trains 323 and plenty of other content creators who have worked with Trainboy54 in the past and just bail out of working with Trainboy54 entirely? Well, that's something I will have to admit, hands down. In fact, if anything, part of me really wants to bail out of course, working with Trainboy54 for sure. In fact, if anything, I was almost tempted to actually do that at one certain point for sure. But every single time I actually thought about doing that for sure, I couldn't bring myself up to actually doing for sure, because if anything, that would actually leave my friend absolutely heartbroken, and I would end up hurting his feelings for sure, as I'm actually the one friend that he can actually count on for sure. And that's something I couldn't bring myself up to actually do for sure. I mean, I really want to in the slightest, but I couldn't bring myself up to actually doing for sure, because if anything, it would actually leave me even more stressed out compared to where I am nowadays working with him for sure. And yeah, it's hard. It's really hard for me to actually admit that for sure. And yeah, like I said, I do want Trainboy54 to improve on his videos for sure, and I do want him to get better at what he's actually doing for sure. And compared to me as of now, I have been working hard to improve on my videos for sure, to which I will definitely get to later on for sure. But yeah, part of me wants to really wants to bail out of working with Trainboy54 for sure, but I couldn't bring myself up to actually doing it for sure, because that would leave my friend absolutely heartbroken for sure, and I really don't want that in the slightest for sure. And that's really hard for me to actually admit that for sure, because if anything, unlike Trainboy54, who is currently in his 30s right now, and still doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, and still having the mindset of where he is right now for sure. Me personally, I think I know hands down that right around well over a year from now, I'll soon be out of my 20s, and I'll be entering my 30s pretty soon. But unlike where Trainboy54 is currently at right now, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, I will still make videos in the slightest for sure. But of course, outside of all that, I've actually gone out and do something for sure outside of the internet for sure. And of course, I have gone to several conventions for sure, and I actually met my fans who have actually watched my videos for sure, and have actually looked up to me for sure. And let's not forget to mention, I've actually been doing quite well, doing some volunteering work at Access to Independence, and even working hard at, of course, my job at Area 51 in the Crow's Nest Online for sure. And I have been working hard with, of course, my family for sure, and trying to take care of them for sure, to which, yeah, part of me does kind of want to feel stressed out for sure, especially for the fact that my dad was a little bit too over heavy, of course, pretty much of course, the stress that he has to go through for sure, and of course, as much as I really do love my mom for sure, I do notice that on rare occasions she would show behavior that would pretty much be on caring levels for sure, and I don't want my mom to become a caring for sure. So yeah. And let's not forget to mention for the fact that I have been I have worked hard and have pretty much graduating from college that I've been working hard at for 8 years for sure, and I did finally graduate and got my associate's degree for sure, and of course, let's not forget to mention somewhere around later on down the road, I do have plans to actually move out of my parents' place for sure and start living on my own. And of course, I am willing to actually pretty much have my girlfriend Casamelli move in with me as well. To which yeah. Speaking of the latter, I was actually really quite thrilled that me and Casamelli have actually been a boyfriend and girlfriend ever since 2015 for sure, and of course to finally meet her in person for sure, including the last two where she actually came up to where I live and actually visited me for sure. That was actually quite amazing for sure, and yeah, once I actually do move out of my parents' place, of course I will allow her to move in with me for sure, so yeah, sure we do have some things to take care of in order to get that settled for sure. But I am actually welcome to the hang for sure, and of course I would actually let my girlfriend move in with me for sure. That's something that she and I have been discussing on for many years for sure, and I do hope that we will finally make that a reality one day for sure. So that's pretty much all the stuff that I can say on my part compared to Trainboy54 in the slightest. So I guess given to everything that I actually said for sure, yeah, I think it will pretty much get you the idea, of course, how I actually feel with, of course, me and Trainboy54 in the slightest for sure, and I guess for the sake of the video that I actually mentioned that Brandon has actually put up years and years ago, I think it actually does show, of course, why I'm actually referring to hands down for sure, so yeah, and I think I know a lot of people are saying that I don't deserve to be on YouTube in the slightest for sure, and I should just leave entirely for what it is for sure, and I shouldn't be doing all the stuff that I've been doing for sure. Well, let me tell you something as of now, because if anything, pretty much from me in the past for sure, that was actually me pretty much trying to find my footing, actually understanding YouTube and the internet as a whole for sure, and even try my hand out, of course, making videos for sure, just to see if I could be good at it or not. But nowadays, pretty much in the recent years for sure, I have been doing that for sure. But I actually have been experimental with, of course, what I've actually been doing for sure. Like, of course, like I said, I've been going out to several conventions and organizing some really awesome cosplays that I actually did for sure. I tried my hand at pretty much doing different video styles to see if that could be something that I want to pursue for sure. And all that sort of stuff as my way to try to not only be experimental for sure, but also try to do something creative and new, not different for sure. So yeah, and of course by new is, of course, I mean is stuff that I've never done before that I want to try my hand at, of course, doing for sure. And of course getting all out to you guys for sure. And well, judging by the view counts from what I've actually seen on my channel, and of course my second channel for sure, they've actually been going quite well for sure. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, some of them are stuck in double digits or single digits areas for sure, let alone have actually been growing at a rather slow pace for sure. But I did allow time to actually sell, of course, all that, and see if that's something that a lot of people can get behind, and actually see if they actually want to, if they want to see more of that from me for sure. And I think it really does show for sure. So yeah, I guess compared to, of course, back then, for sure, I have taken the criticism for sure, and I have actually tried my best to improve on my videos in the slightest for sure. And to all those people saying that I clearly don't have any right to actually do all the stuff that I do on YouTube for sure, well, I think I will refer to yeah, I think if anything, to give you guys a little context of course, my response to all that, from not just the people on the internet, but also people that I know individually for sure, I might as well refer to you pretty much this clip from this episode of Hell's Kitchen. There is, of course, one part during elimination where Gordon Ramsay asked one contestant named Trev if he still has what it takes, and he actually did state that it can't be the end of his time there, and he won't allow himself to walk out the door, which would lead to Gordon Ramsay to make this statement.
Trev, truthfully, aren't you in over your head?
No, I'm not in over my head. This cannot be the fucking end. I won't accept it from myself, at all.
Come on, Trev. That's my decision. That's not your call.
Did you catch that? Let me play that last part again.
Come on, Trev. That's my decision. That's not your call.
That line right there, that is more important than you might think for sure. So, given to, of course, what I've actually done on YouTube, and especially on social media for sure, all that alone for sure, that is mainly my decision. That's not their call, especially yours, hands down. So yeah, if I'm willing to, of course, try to do something new and creative with, of course, my videos, I'm gonna do that. If I want to try to go for anything revolving around my cosplays, I'm gonna do that as well. And that's just to name me a few for sure. And of course, in regards to, of course, my cosplays, that's something I actually did mention, of course, on my previous rant video that I did. Of course, the topic of me cross-playing for sure, and answering the question if I'm willing to transition or not for sure. Like, of course, pretty much the main factor is, of course, me cosplaying as Barbara from Genshin Impact. Now, I don't actually cosplay her because I actually look cute in a dress for sure. No, I like cosplaying her because I really get behind her character for sure. That really got me intrigued in such a way, and I want to exploit that whenever I want, if I do want to try cosplaying her for sure. And thankfully, that's been working out quite well for sure. And as I did mention for sure, my regular Barbara cosplay that I did actually led me to win the cosplay contest at Heroes and Villains Con 2 years ago. And of course, when I did her as a ballerina that I debuted at Retro Game Con back at that same year for sure, I ended up winning Best Performance in the Creator division for sure. So yeah, and if you have seen my vlogs, of course, both of those conventions that I did a couple of years ago, and of course, a couple episodes that I did talking about my hauls that I did at both conventions for sure, and especially, of course, my previous rant videos for sure. That would actually show exactly that for sure. There is no hiding from that, hands down for sure. And yeah, that's just a good example, of course, what I'm actually referring to, hands down. If I'm willing to do something for, of course, my online career as a whole for sure, then that's mainly up to me, hands down. I would be the one who would actually decide on that, hands down. Sometimes I would do it, other times I won't. But I guess either way, my point still stands, of course, all that. Now, some of you may think that sounds petty of me to actually say because I would actually deny the people who have said that I've actually been putting up some failures as opposed to successes for sure. Well, I think I might as well refer to you with another clip that does involve me from a couple of years ago for sure. Now, if you may recall, 2 years ago, I was interviewed on a podcast called Animazing Radio, to which you should definitely check out for sure. And during that said interview that I actually did, the main host, Doug, actually asked me the question that if I didn't do any of that stuff, I wouldn't be where I am right now. To which I actually gave out this answer for sure.
Have you had experiences because of the YouTube stuff that, if you weren't doing the show, you may never have had the opportunity to do?
Well, yeah, maybe a little bit. I think there were times and stuff where I do wish I would have stopped altogether and just move on from, of course, all that and carry on with life as normal. But again, I think going back to what I said, I think I knew right away that I do have bits and pieces where, of course, I will admit there are several times where, of course, I would actually make something that I'm not really proud of for sure. Some of which that I've actually failed big time. But either way, I think it's okay for me to fail for sure. Not every single thing I touch is going to be gold for sure. There are going to be some bumps that may get in the way and stuff. But again, that's actually a part of course, me actually growing and actually maturing a whole lot for many years to come. Yeah. That is, of course, the perfect answer that I can actually give for sure. And that's something I'm saying nowadays for sure. And yeah, don't get me wrong. I did actually put up some videos that not everyone's gonna like for sure. And yeah, pretty much of anything, pretty much looking back on the controversy that happened 12 years ago for sure. And especially for the fact that I had several times where I wish I would just quit making videos entirely. I think I do find a way to bounce back for sure and actually try harder to actually win them over for sure. And of course, the host of Animazing Radio, Doug, actually did give me some really great advice after I gave that answer to his question for sure. Yeah, there are going to be times where, of course, I would actually make some videos that I'm not proud of and some projects that failed big time. But you know what? I say unlike me in the past for sure, nowadays I don't stand there with the arrogance telling myself that what I'm doing is perfect for sure. And I think that's what really matters, of course, my part. I had some big successes on, of course, my online career, but I also had some big failures at the same time. I'm not ashamed to admit that for sure, but I guess moreover, I think it's not just me, but a lot of other content creators have actually made plenty of mistakes in the past for sure, and I guess for the sake of Brandon, aka the hardcore dude for sure, yeah, he actually did criticize a lot of people pretty much on the internet for sure, let alone actually talked about them in all of his smacked up YouTube failures list for sure. But you know what? Some of them have actually moved on and have actually learned from their mistakes for sure. Now, I did say some of them, not all of them in the slightest, because a good number of people on the internet that he has talked about, yeah, they definitely did get what they deserve for sure. Like of course, Life and Intent for pretty much making that insensitive video about the Japanese earthquake back in 2011 for sure. Jake and Logan Paul for, of course, Jake for all sort of stupid crap that he actually did, and Logan Paul for filming a dead body during his trip in Japan for sure, and of course, Tana Mojo for her terrible handling of TanaCon for sure. And let's not forget to mention Chris Chang for all sorts of stupid shit that he or she has actually done over the years for sure. So yeah. I think that's pretty much what I could say, of course, that front. But like I said, some of them have actually learned from their mistakes for sure. And even Brandon actually did mentioning, I think in one of his Q&A videos, that he did state some YouTubers that he did criticize before, that he's actually on good terms now for sure. So I think that actually does show in the slightest, of course, why I'm actually talking about for sure. So yeah, and of course, I can definitely say the same argument, of course, on my part for sure. I did make mistakes for sure, but do you know what I did? I didn't actually, pretty much, yeah, I think nowadays, I didn't go on to people saying you have no idea what you're talking about for sure. No, whenever I make a massive mistake for sure, I acknowledge that and I learn from it for sure, and that's something I've been doing back then ever since this whole thing actually happened. And this is what I'm saying right now for sure, and I guess given to the whole situation that happened 12 years ago for sure, yeah, I will admit that was one of the biggest mistakes that I've actually done for sure, and I stand by my word, and what I did was absolutely wrong. What I did was really, really wrong for sure. But I did apologize for what I actually did, and I owned up to my actions for sure, and yeah, that's something I actually did say in my perspective video that I did a couple of years ago, and that is what I'm saying right now for sure. So yeah, I think it's what I can say, of course, that front for sure, and it's even like I said, if I would have gone back in time to actually go back to a young 16-year-old me, when I actually got the message from Universal Twisters asking for Trainboy 54's Skype ID for sure, I would have stopped myself from pretty much insulting him and starting this whole thing. And yeah, if I would have said something more on the lines, pretty much something like, I am very sorry, I'm not allowed to give you that kind of info for sure. Do you suppose you can ask someone else for that for sure? So yeah, if I would have said that in a much more calm and mature way possible, then I think this situation could have ended a whole lot differently for sure. So yeah, that's something I should have done if I would have gone back in time to a young 16-year-old me for sure. Let alone stop myself from starting this whole thing in the slightest for sure. And of course, pretty much of anything, of course, in my perspective video for sure, there are some that I kind of actually missed out for sure. Like, of course, I didn't include the Milan Toon channel for sure, to which back in the day he was originally known as Derpy Derp 1999. Yeah, I do know I was actually called out by him for sure, and having a strong hatred against me for sure, but to which, yeah, I guess that is actually the case from back then, and I do feel bad for not mentioning that for sure, though I was a little nervous about mentioning that when I did my perspective video, because I don't know how he would actually feel about it. But in the years since, for sure, I did actually did manage to do a reaction video to the first episode of the Railways of Crotoonia that he did, to which, yeah, that episode alone was actually really great, and a really great start to his series that he actually did for sure, and yeah, I actually kept up to date on, of course, the videos that he actually posted for sure, and let's not forget to mention, I did manage to pretty much tried to recreate one of his videos through a picture that I posted on my Twitter years ago. And of course, let's not forget to mention that I did manage to pretty much donate and support Malong on, of course, his Ko-fi page that he actually did, to which he was actually very happy for sure, and he was actually really glad that I actually did that for him for sure. So I guess that actually does show that me and the Malong Toon channel are actually on good terms nowadays for sure, and yeah. I definitely do think he actually put out some good stuff nowadays, and I do think it's well worth checking out for sure. And let's not forget to mention, pretty much of anything, pretty much I might have actually pulled the Uno reverse, pretty much somewhere around late 2016 to early 2017, when I actually posted my family movie collaboration review that I did on the Thomas movie, King of the Railway, where I actually openly mocked Lionel Thomas 200 for sure. To which, yeah, he has actually been falling under heat for entirely for sure, and of course was heavily mocked on the internet for sure. But I think it might have actually showed with that alongside pretty much now former user Z Mark Anthony, who did a Z Watches on That's It Family Movie collaboration review that I did years ago for sure. I think that might have actually been one of the signs where I might have actually been getting back my reputation. So yeah, I think it's very unlikely nowadays because I really have no idea. But that's actually a good example from what I actually mean, and yeah, say what you will about me and Trainboy54 nowadays for sure. Yeah, I think I know hands out on my part, I'm doing fine, and I know Trainboy54's future on YouTube, given to his current status nowadays, may seem very unlikely, given to where he's at right now. But you know what? I still think he and I are still good friends for sure. Yeah, and yeah, I guess if anything, I know a lot of people are going to say that me and Trainboy54 are still gay for sure. Well, that alone I think is one of those false allegations that I still stand by for sure. Yeah, Trainboy54 is still one of my friends for sure, and yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I'm already occupied with, of course, my girlfriend, Melody for sure, so yeah, I'm already taking in the slightest as of now, but you do get my point for sure, so yeah, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other people that are going to create, like, false allegations, or let alone pretty much put up stuff on sites like 4chan, Kiwi Farms, and plenty of other stuff for sure. But you know what? I think the only, pretty much the only response that I could give is, of course, I would do absolutely nothing and brush them off as just false allegations in my mind for sure, and just carry on as normal, like nothing ever happened. And that's it, so if that's the case, of course, that front for sure, I am going to make the same argument for pretty much Brandon's review on the Maid Boy hentai that he actually did for sure. I mean, yeah, it is pretty much going to be massively scarring to look back on my part, hands out, and yeah, I really don't want to go through that in the slightest for sure. But the only thing I can do as of now is, of course, I would just brush it off and just carry on with life as normal. And let me tell you something, Brandon. I know you think that is something that pretty much that me back then is who I am nowadays. But that's not what I am compared to well over 12 years ago for sure. So if you look past me from the past for sure, where of course I was starting off and of course falling under that massive situation, and look at me nowadays still making videos and being experimental with what I'm actually doing, then chances are I think then I think I might actually have a massive path towards where I am right now for sure. And I do want to get better at making videos for sure. And I do want to upgrade my equipment and stuff and actually produce bigger and better projects for sure that I would actually put a lot of time and effort hands down for sure. And yeah, that's something that I've been doing years ago from when I actually started doing that. And that's what I am doing nowadays for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say in this overly long video as a whole. So yeah, I think it's about time that I wrap up this video in the slightest. And boy, what a trip that was. I won't lie. Finally talking about this subject matter in a pretty much in a much more calm and mature way as possible. And I will admit there are some times where I would have gotten massively angry during this video, let alone break down in tears for sure. But I kept my composure all the way, and I do hope what I actually said in, of course, this video finally got my point across for sure. And again, do not harass branding over all this for sure. This video is not a hate campaign, and I condemn any form of harassment for sure, because yeah, going out of your way to attack this person will definitely make you as bad as what I'm actually saying right now for sure. So yeah, if you could just not do that, then I think you will be a much better person, hands down for sure. So, but that would beg the ultimate question: what would actually happen if, of course, Branding, aka Headbanger142, actually did watch this video for sure? Well, I mean, in all honesty, I don't know in the slightest, because, truth be told, and I will get this out for sure, I've been looking hard on, of course, his channel for a long time now, and I'm waiting for this one day, mind you, that he may or may not make a video about me individually, or let alone talk about me in, of course, one of his next smacked up YouTube failures list for sure, to which I highly doubt that's ever going to happen for sure, but again, I could be wrong. Maybe he might do it, maybe not. We shall see, and if nothing else comes up for sure, I'm sure that somewhere around later on, if he actually does watch it, he might actually try to get in contact with me, or let alone comment for sure, to express his thoughts for sure, and how he was back then to nowadays for sure. Maybe he might finally own up and actually apologize, and actually and we might actually come to a compromise and finally be on good terms. Or maybe he might be closed-minded and stick by his word like he did in that Sega video that he did well over 12 years ago for sure. But again, I could be wrong, of course, on that front, and I really don't know what's going to happen from there for sure. But we're going to let time actually be the judge of that for sure. But like I said, pretty much with what I've actually said, it might happen or maybe not. We shall wait and see. But the only thing we can say the only thing I can say right now is that, given to where we're at right now, all we could do now is, of course, still carry on as if nothing ever happened in the slightest, and keep on doing what we do ever since we first started signing up for this website in the slightest. Like, of course, he'll still carry on with, of course, his videos as normal, and I'll still carry on with mine entirely. And I'm not going to ask for him to take the video down the slightest. Because if anything, those are already re-uploaded by two different users on two different websites for sure. And that Sega review alone is indeed protected under fair use for sure. So there's literally nothing I can do about that in the slightest for sure. So yeah, I guess if anything, probably, I guess, the best course of action is, of course, not let the video be taken down in the slightest for sure, because that's actually a coward's way out for sure, and I really don't want to have what happened to me during the summer of 2012 to happen all over again for sure. That is not what I'm asking for in the slightest, so yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, at that front for sure. But until that day comes around, I'm pretty sure Brandon and I will still carry on as normal, as if nothing ever happens for sure. Unless some things come up in the slightest that might change all that for sure, but we're gonna leave that for the future to decide on, of course, that front. So yeah, I guess with all that said and done, that's pretty much what I can say in a nutshell for sure. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest video, and yeah, I'm finally glad I got that out of the way. And yeah, part of me actually really doesn't want to do that for sure, but I figure now's a good time for me to do the right thing and actually come forward and address this whole thing, and for me to finally go on the record for sure, because yeah, let me tell you, part of me actually feels like part of my voice is taken away, and I want it back, hands down, for sure. So I do hope this video will actually get the point across for sure. So yeah. But I guess on a much more lighter note for sure, I guess in terms of what videos I might plan out for sure, well, I've actually got quite a couple hands down. Like I make like pretty much as established at the end of my thoughts video that I did on the recent Crow movie, I am gonna shoot to see the new Beetlejuice sequel that's coming up. So yeah, once I actually do go see it, I will let you guys know on what I thought about it, and I may actually squeeze in one or two videos that I might actually do in the meantime for sure. But of course, in less than a week from now, I'm going to be going away for a few days because I'm going to head on down south to visit my sister, because she's going to be getting married coming up. So yeah, I don't want to miss out on that. And don't worry about a thing. For a while, I won't actually be posting videos around that time while I be gone within the next week for sure. I am still going to keep you guys up to date on social media stuff, and especially on YouTube for sure, and I will get in contact with, of course, plenty of my friends, either through direct messaging or, of course, through email for sure. So yeah, I won't be making any videos until I get back from visiting my sister for her wedding that'll be coming up for sure. So yeah, I think it's what I can say, of course, that for, and I want to let you guys know on all of that before I can actually do that for sure. So yeah, once I actually do get that taken care of, I will be back to posting videos on the regular for sure. So yeah, I guess right up until that comes around, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Special thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon for making today's video possible, including my top tier supporters for this month, VD. So if you want to be like these guys and show your support to us, then go to patreon.com/AckleyAttack44227TheThomasFan1 to pledge now, do so, and get some awesome rewards within your budget. Hey guys, this is AckleyAttack4427 here. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Feel free to like, comment, and share if you enjoy what you're seeing. If you like what you see here and want to see more videos coming up, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and switch on the notification bell to get notifications, and select all notifications to be notified for when we post a new video. And don't forget to switch on notifications on your phone as well. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel and our 2-member channel with Sam the Thomas Fan 1, SamAttack4427TheThomasFan1 Productions, for plenty more content you can't find on here. You can check both of our channels out with the links or by our handles provided on screen. Feel free to shoot me an email with my email address provided, beackley95@hotmail.com, if you want to ask me a question Want to collab with me for a project you've got in the works, or if you want to book me to be featured for a convention coming up. Follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up to date with me on updates, announcements, and new releases of my videos, as well as plenty of others I've got with my handles provided, as well as the links down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to follow me on TikTok for other videos I've got aside from the ones I've posted on YouTube, and on Twitch for any future live streams I've got coming up soon, as well as join our official Discord server to see what we've provided. If you wish to show your support to me, then feel free to check out my Patreon to get sneak peeks of my videos coming up before they go up online, as well as getting access to updates and playing more, in addition to getting some awesome rewards within your budget. Also, don't forget to check out and show your support to me on my wishlist on Amazon, and even supporting me at streamlabs.com/AckleyTACTV/tip that you can find in the description box below, as well as on my Twitch page. And in case you can't find any of the links that are provided, then not to worry about a thing. All the links and stuff are also provided on my link tree that you can also find in the description box below, as well as a few selected number of my social media pages. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take care.